We'll be talking to Simon Zwane from the Road Traffic Management Corporation shortly. Now, we're going to show you a visual from a separate accident. If you've got children, maybe just turn around, maybe just don't watch it. Here we go. I'll let you know when it's done, but it is literally a truck coming through and just, taking out a car. Now, this, you can look now, the worst of it is over. The aftermath of this accident, this was on the R34 between Vryheid and Ulundi, with a truck ploughing into an accident site. 2 people were hurt, but bystanders were able to pull a woman from the path of the truck just in time. You can look now, the worst of this is over. Well, let's speak to Simon Zwane from the Road Traffic Management Corporation. Simon, good afternoon to you. I'm sure you've seen this footage, both the footage of this accident in Ulundi and also the incident in Pongola. I mean, you look at what's happening in Pongola, you've got the truck driver going very fast, you've got him pulling into oncoming traffic. I don't want to prejudge the court process, but this is just driving at its absolute worst. It's absolutely most dangerous. I can't think I've ever seen anything like this before.
Yeah, I've seen that footage, Stephen. It's very disturbing. And unfortunately, we've seen such footages quite frequently recently. And the other time there was on the same R34, one driver was driving at very high speed and had to be stopped and arrested around Charlestown. Was overtaking recklessly on bends and all of that. I don't know what is really happening when these people are employed, the kind of workshops or training that they undertake, but we are seeing these troubling incidents quite frequently, and they are leading to a high number of fatalities on our roads.
There were warnings that this could happen in Pongola. You heard in Karinda's report, the person who actually tweeted the minister, tweeted the provincial government about Pongola specifically. And literally, unfortunately, his prediction actually came to pass. It actually happened. There's been this terrible accident there. When someone sees a dangerous situation, I mean, who's supposed to fix it? You can tweet Fikile Mbalula, you can tweet the provincial government. In this case, nothing happened. I mean, what's supposed to happen in situations like this? Who's supposed to act?
Yeah, what's supposed to happen is that when conditions that could give rise to accidents are identified, those areas should be identified as hotspots, and then traffic officers should be deployed into those areas as a start to handle that situation. And then more detailed investigations need to be put in place to determine what other engineering interventions need to be put in place. If it's so determined that you need to put speed humps, they should be put in place. If a new road needs to be built to bypass that dangerous section of the road, that also should need to be considered and to be put in place. But then building a new road could take a long time. The shortest interventions would be building speed humps and or deploying of traffic officers on the roads to discourage reckless behavior from drivers.
So, Simon, who do we go to, right? If I see a dangerous section today, who do I go to? I mean, what do I do? Who must I approach?
The people who can respond immediately would be if it's in the metropolitan areas, would be the Metro Police or the provincial Department of Transport or Traffic Department. They can immediately intervene in those situations.
I have to say, I mean, I've seen this. I think everybody has seen this. You will see drivers breaking the law right in front of a police officer, right in front of an SAPS or a Metro police officer. You'll see taxi drivers going into oncoming traffic. You'll see truck drivers doing it. I almost wonder if this has just become the way of things. The police don't care, and so nobody else does.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem we have is bribery and corruption. When action is taken by traffic officers, they either get bribed or instead of enforcing the law, they themselves tout for bribes and payment. And that is a big problem that we need to address. And we are addressing it, but it needs to be addressed quite seriously. There is a problem of unethical and unprofessional behavior among our officers, and some of the drivers are aware of that. They are aware that they can buy their way out of trouble.
Do we need to change the licensing system? And I don't know if changing the licensing system helps if you can just buy your way out of trouble with a police officer either. We've got to fix one before we fix the other.
We've got to enforce the law consistently and without fear or favor. That is the start. And then we can look at other interventions. But the enforcement of the law needs to be strong, and it needs to be decisive and have immediate consequences.
Do you have any belief that that is going to change, that that's going to happen?
Yes, I think with the new crop of traffic officers that are being trained and will be released, that will change. We need strong training on ethics for traffic officers. Those who are in colleges now have been trained quite strongly on anti-corruption and ethical and professional behavior. With those kinds of interventions, I think we will start to see a difference.
The auto system was supposed to come in, and this would mean that if you break the law, say you get caught speeding, you'd lose points, eventually you'd lose your license. It's been very difficult to do for various reasons. Is there a way, and I know there's been court challenges, is there a way to bring in R2 for truck drivers specifically first? Because I mean, and I know they have a different licensing regime. I know they have to get their heavy-duty license, I think, is it every year, every 2 years, rather than most people have to get a new one every 5. But is there a way to change something to do with truck drivers to try and at least improve the driving there?
Yeah, Stephen, specifically for truck drivers, they have to renew their public driver's permits regularly. So they check whether they have had other traffic offenses before a permit can be renewed. And then I think we can strengthen around that one, ensure that a person who has had serious traffic offenses does not have their license, their driving permit renewed. Incidentally, I had a call today. Somebody was complaining that they can't get their public driving permit because they have a conviction for drunken driving. That kind of thing needs to happen more frequently to discourage people from misbehaving on the road. Because with that kind of conviction for drunken driving, you will not have your professional driving permit renewed. And when that happens, you can't get employment within the trucking sector or public transport sector. So we need to build in also other exclusionary clauses, such as for those people who have a high number of traffic fines for speeding, disregarding road signs and overtaking on barrier lines, causing accidents, and those should also be included in that.
Simon Zwane, thank you. Spokesperson for the Road Traffic Management Corporation. Just the most horrific images and videos that we're seeing. I mean, you just hear what people were talking about as they try and deal with their grief after those children were killed in that horrific crash. Well,